Welcome to Worthy Ones, the video series where I take all the newest issue 1 comic books that I read for the current comic book week and deem them worthy or not worthy. I'm Mike Spider Slayer. Welcome back to Comic Book Corner 2.0. If you love me helping you make decisions on what comic books to buy and if you love daily comic book content, hit that subscribe button. Before we dive into it, guys, I got a quick thing to announce. I have been nominated for 3 different awards for the Comic Book Community Awards. That's right, guys. I have been nominated for favorite channel for 5,000 plus subscribers, the best unboxing haul video, and I've also have the best ongoing or reoccurring series, which is right here, Worthy Ones. So I am very honored to be finalists or nominees for these awards, and if you guys want to vote, all you got to do is go on to cbcawards.org and you can hit the big vote here button and you will go down through the list of categories and you can vote for me. So it's much appreciated if you throw your boy a vote, and we'll see what happens later on in the year. So with that being said, guys, let's get started with this week's episode. Marvel 85th Anniversary Special Issue 1. This book is 72 pages. It's $8. It's an anthology story where it's celebrating 85 years of Marvel Comics. So you're going to get a different cast of characters, okay? Today's theme is a lot about how pricey the books are and are they really worth, picking up, right? Now, this book is supposedly celebrating 85 years, and my thing with an anniversary book, and I've read quite a few of them, is that I wish this book wasn't so modern. We get so many of the modern characters like Kamala Khan, Miles Morales, and, we do get some Deadpool and some Wolverine and stories that are in the future. But we don't get really any stories that take place in the past, like in the Silver Age and maybe in the Bronze and Copper Age and things like that. I would love to see more stories, again, celebrating all of these characters. Now, this Kamala Khan story was actually really good, with Kamala being a herald to Galactus. I thought that was actually a lot of fun. This Excalibur story was actually really good too, and it brought me to a simpler time when Excalibur was around. So I would have loved to seen maybe a 60s or 70s story going through the decades of Marvel instead of just saying celebrating 85 years. We get a modern telling pretty much of, Spider-Man, where you could see this anywhere, like in a backup story and whatnot. So overall, it wasn't bad. It's just, I don't know if it's worthy of spending the $8 for it. So for me, it's not worth it. But if you have the extra cash and you weren't buying any other books this week or that many books, then go ahead, pick it up. But personally, I have read much better anniversary issues in the past. Again, not saying that this is horrible. It's just I've read better celebrating, I guess less years of Marvel. So if that makes sense. But at the end of the day, I think I'm going to give this one a C+. It was pretty cool. Some of the stories were good. And again, I just would have loved to see more older stories, I guess, celebrating some of your classic characters, like more Hulk, more Cap, more Fantastic Four, even regular X-Men. Universal Monsters Frankenstein issue 1. So I read Dracula, I read the Creature from the Black Lagoon, and now we have another classic monster here with Frankenstein. This one is 32 pages for the price of $5. And this one is written by Michael Walsh, and the artwork is also done by the writer as well. The artwork is very dark. It's gloomy. It's kind of what you can expect. This is very much like old school horror movie like vibes when you open up this 2-page spread. So really good right there. And this story is kind of sad because this boy, his father just most recently died, and we get to see this doctor winds up getting bodies from the grave and trying to make his own Frankenstein, right? And the boy winds up finding out that Frankenstein's hands are his father's hands. and he finds out who this doctor is and how he's really sick in the head, and the boy tries to take matters in his own hands. And just seeing the resurrection of Frankenstein was really cool. Overall, it was a nice modern take of the Frankenstein character, so this book is worthy. That's right. I was a little bit on the fence about this book. I'm not gonna lie. I was like, where are we gonna go? I thought the Creature of the Black Lagoon was kind of cool, but it wasn't as strong as Dracula for me. And I really am digging this one because I love the boy. I love the son here. Like, I just feel like, what's going to happen to this kid? And what's going to go on with this Frankenstein monster and the Frankenstein and the monster, Frankenstein and the boy shared a moment in this book too. So awesome read. Definitely recommend this one. I'm going to give this one an A. I really enjoyed it. It surprised me, guys. I Lie Popeye issue 1. So what grabbed my attention on this comic was the free comic book day edition to this. This is Popeye in pretty much like a whole new take, or a modern day take, right? This is a $5 comic book. This one is written by Marcus Williams, and the art is also done by Marcus Williams. The artwork is very anime-like style, big eyes, big smiles, lots of action. There's lots of action in this comic book. Almost reminds me of like Dragon Ball Z characters in a way. You got them over muscular, constantly, again, fighting with each other. You got Bluto and you got Popeye in here. And if you've never watched Popeye, or you never heard of Popeye the Sailor Man, he's a character who's a sailor. His girlfriend or wife is named Olive. They have a kid by the name of Sweet Pea, and when Popeye's in trouble, he takes his spinach and he eats it, and it makes him super powerful. And as you can see, the different types of powers in here and whatnot. So I thought that was really cool. Artistically, this book is absolutely phenomenal, right? Story-wise, it's a lot of fighting, and I can honestly tell you here, guys, I could not read this book. The font in here is so small that I basically need a magnifying glass. And being that I'm 49 years old, my eyesight close up is not the best, and I just got it corrected. And when I have to squint and struggle to even see the font in a comic book, and I've never seen font this small before, like, look at that. It's not going to be a readable comic for me. So unfortunately, it's just not worthy, because we should have an understanding of how to write proper, words and word bubbles and stuff like that, so people can actually read it, and I wish I could. It was sad. It was great looking at the book, but I need to be able to read it as well. So this one is probably going to get a C just for that reason. Fantastic artwork. If you read it, let me know what you thought of the story, and if you're going to be picking up issue 2. Convert. This is issue 1. It's from Image Comics mini-series. This one's 28 pages for the price of $4. We got John Arcudi is the one that is writing this comic book, and the art is done by Savannah Finley. The art's pretty good. It does what it needs to do to tell the story here. And this story is about this astronaut that lands on another planet with some other astronauts. And here it is. Here's the lander right here. And there's something wrong with the fuel cells in this lander. And it blows up. Kills the other people on the actual lander. And this guy is like stuck on the planet. And he has no communications with Earth. It looks like it will take 33 months in order for them to get Earth people to whatever planet that they're on. I don't know where they're at. And to rescue this guy. And so this is basically a survival story of this guy. Him living on this planet, trying to survive. He's going through, obviously hunger issues. He's tripping. He doesn't see things right. And he tries to find fish, and he's being poisoned. And so basically it's just, again, survival. And at the end of the issue, you think that this guy could die, right? And everything is being written in a journal, so that's how he communicates to the reader, which is kind of cool. And next thing you see when this guy's probably about to die, we see like this alien race or whatever that lives on this planet coming to rescue him. Do I need another issue of this one in my life? No. Is it worthy? Yes. I think it's a worthy comic book. I think it was a well-told story. I don't think there was enough here to get me, though, to a second issue. What I liked about it was the guy on the planet trying to survive. And I think the story could have been perfect if it ended right there when he dies. Remembering his friends, his family, stuff like that, and then he just dies. I don't know if I need the alien race to go and rescue him and stuff like that, right? Perfect one-shot type of book. So at the end of the day, I'm going to give this one like a C+. I thought it was good. It wasn't great, but I was intrigued with this guy on how he was surviving. Phases of the Moon Knight. This is issue 1, a 40-page comic for the price of $5, written by Erica Schultz and Benjamin Percy. They do a couple different stories in this one. This is Rod Reese does the artwork in this comic. Looks pretty good. Do like the action scenes. Do like the way Moon Knight looks in here. There's a couple different versions of Moon Knight because this is called the Phases of Moon Knight. So we get to see the Moon Knight that was in the story in the Vengeance of Moon Knight, which was the Shroud. So you get to see some of the stuff that he wound up going in here. We wound up seeing Cassian, the Crusader. That's another Moon Knight from 1200 England, and you get to see how he becomes the Moon Knight and how he, interacts with Khonshu in here, which was cool. And the one thing that I found was the best was that he does interact with Apocalypse. So that was cool and unexpected as well. For a one-shot, this book is worthy. However, it's a $5 comic book for this one shot, and with all the other comic books that are coming out, I don't think you need to read this. This is just another one of those throwaway books where it's like, okay, that was cool, done. And then you're going to kind of forget about it. With as many comics as there are, and as expensive as they are, you got to just look at it and say, I'm done with one-shots for the most part, and I'm just going to stick with the miniseries or the ongoing series, the thing that has a payoff to a story. But hey, everybody is different. You might like this one. At the end of the day, this one was pretty decent, though. I'm going to give this one a C+. Tell me what you thought of this one in the comments below if you decided to pick it up. Chasm Curse of K. This is issue 1, 40 pages, $5 for this story. This one's written by Steve Fox, and the art is done by Andrea Briccardo. The artwork is okay. I think the characters look better with their masks on than when they have their masks off. Here we get to see, again, lots of action in the comic book. Chasm looks cool. Kane looks cool, right? But then as soon as masks come off, these characters just look a little weird, like, I don't know, Hallows Eve, she looks a little like too good girl. Here we get to see Chasm. Like, there's no real detail in his face is there, very simplistic. So I thought the artwork could have been a little bit better in certain elements here, but nowhere near. It's not horrible, right? So this book very much reminded me of like a B movie, right? There was nothing here that really was like, man, this is great. This is different, with a wonderful cliffhanger. And so I guess based off of my comments, you can tell that this one is going to be not worthy. So let's talk about this story. So in this book, we wind up seeing freaking Kane make his appearance because he heard Chasm's around. Ben Reilly maybe not making the best decisions. And so he just mysteriously appears, right? And then we wind up getting to see vermin-like characters make their appearance in the sewers. Why do we always see vermin in the sewers? Like, it's so overdone, right? So frustrating. And maybe this is a subway or whatever the case may be, right? And so you wind up getting to see these two characters take on these vermin characters, and they take advantage of just innocent bystanders by saying, yeah, we're the superheroes, but we charge to fight crime, you know? And it's like, we're going to take your money. And then, like, Ben is all excited about that. Like, really? You just stole someone's credit card? Like, that's a big score for you? It just doesn't make any sense. And I don't like the way Hallows' Eve is written in this comic either. She's been in quite a few different miniseries, and I feel like the character has already evolved past to the Chasm character as of right now. Just seems like Ben Reilly, we don't know what to do with. But Hallows' Eve, she's open. We can do different things with her. But here, she just seems hindered with Ben Reilly at her side. She just needs to be on her by herself. So there's that going on. Then you got this Eternal causing all these problems and different things like that. And it just wasn't very exciting. Mole Man winds up being captured. The Eternal creates all these monsters. Just a very weird and a little bit disjointed at times where he comes across his neighbor. Dude, like I said, this book is just not worthy. Ben Reilly is not himself. He's out of his head too. Like, the Eternal's controlling him. This is just bad for me, guys. This one is like a D-, pretty close to an F. The artwork is okay in some places. It was cool seeing some fighting scenes. It's nice to see Hallows' Eve, but I feel like she's a little bit out of character. I love seeing her in Blood Hunters and the other mini that she was in. She's trying to be a bit of a better person. So yeah, this is a miss. I'm not going to pick this one up going forward. Venom War Zombie Oats. This is issue 1. 28 pages, $4. This one is written by Kevin Scott, and the penciler is done by Juan Jose Reap. The artwork is actually pretty solid in this comic book. And if you like zombie apocalypse books, this is what you're going to get in this comic book. And the cast of characters that were in this book, I didn't expect it. Seeing the cover of this comic, I was kind of like, this is going to be completely lame, right? And like I said, I wasn't going to pick this one up. And I realized, I guess I put it on my FOC. Because I was like, Zombie Oats, how stupid can this be? So how does this tie into the Venom War storyline? Well, it ties in very loosely. We have a future Eddie Brock by the name of Meredith, who's like literally the king of in black in the way future. And so to, I guess, retain his king in black, he bought over a bunch of mindless symbiotes, landed them on Earth, and has them trying to take over the world. And it's basically like a zombie plague. Like the symbiote actually bites the person and they automatically get infected like zombies. So that's basically what you see in this comic book. And the art is, again, absolutely phenomenal. And it opens up with these two armored car guys, and it's a great opening scene as this dude is just trying to get some food, and there's a zombie or a symbiote in there, right? And it actually eats him, and it looks all grotesque and nasty. And slowly but surely, you wind up getting to see all these zombie-like symbiotes take over the city. The cast of characters is what really makes this book, which is Jennifer Walters, you get the Shocker, you get Patsy Walker, you get Overdrive, and you get Speed Demon, which was really a lot of fun. This is like Superior Foes of Spider-Man all over again. It's humorous. It's some different side of the Venom symbiote war, and I just really enjoy it. And if you're looking for something to have fun with this week, this was it. I just really enjoyed it. I never thought I would have liked this book, and I love when a book does this. So this book is absolutely worthy. Had so much fun. One of my favorite books so far of the week that I've read. Still got 20 more books to go after I read like 10 of these. And I'm going to give this one a solid A. Curious to see where it goes from here, but if you love zombie books, if you love apocalyptic-like books, and you like symbiotes, hey, this one's for you. Deadpool Team Up. This is issue 1. 28 pages for the price of $5. Written by the legend himself, Rob Liefeld, and drawn by Rob Liefeld as well. You know, obviously by now we know what we can expect from Liefeld's artwork. Not a lot of small panels. You're going to get large panels in this one. So you can see those great facial expressions. You can see those, action scenes, the floating heads, and his feet. Yes, that's right, guys. You get to see feet, of course, and his square pistols. It's a very distinct style. Obviously, when you see this type of artwork, you know what you can expect, right? And listen, Rob Liefeld in the 90s was all the craze, all the rage. Everyone loved his artwork. I think it's very dated at this point. I think he focuses a lot on the large panel grids, 2-page spreads, the pinups, things like that. So the story is much shorter, right? So if you love his artwork, though, okay, that's great. This is a type of book where you kind of can't take it too seriously. This is just for fun, okay? This is the last story that the guy is writing for Marvel, or I guess Deadpool in general. It's not like he's not going to write comics anymore or draw things anymore, but this is his last Deadpool story. And in this story, he's writing about a character, and it's funny, I saw a Instagram reel on this one where it was based off of a character from a Fantastic Four book about Rael Dorn. He is the Dragon Lord, and him and Deadpool are teaming up, I guess, to get this egg. So, like, Deadpool can get out of trouble. You know what I'm saying? And the team-ups are just so random. Like, he's fighting, and then all of a sudden he comes across, like, Lady Anime, and then he's doing another little fight with some other little goons by the dock, and then he comes across the dragon guy for the, officially in the book. And then the next thing you wind up seeing is Wolverine makes his appearance in the comic book just randomly, right? I'm not going to lie, this picture of Wolverine, though, is really, really good. I loved it. And then he's teaming up with Wolverine, and then at the end you wind up getting Crystar. And they're going to go to Weird World. It's just an all over the place, kind of disjointed comic, but don't take it seriously. If you love Rob Liefeld and you want to read his last story, this book is worthy. It's just what you could expect. It's nothing different from the previous stories that he's most recently come out with. And I'll give the guy credit. He's been in comics for a very long time. He's could have, hid his head under the sand, but he's taken all the punches, and, whether it's been good or bad, and he still continues to make stories. And listen, the guy came out with one of the most popular comic book characters of all time. So if I had to rate this comic book, it's not that great. I'm going to give it like a C+, but it is a fun little read. Aliens vs. Avengers issue 1. This is it, guys. This is the book that you've been waiting for me to talk about. This bad boy is 44 pages for the price of $8. It's written by Jonathan Hickman, and the art is done by Asad Ribic. Before we get into it, guys, this book is incredibly expensive. For 44 pages, you're paying $8. I can literally go to the movies right now and see the new Aliens movie cheaper than this comic book. For a matinee, of course. But still, the cost of this comic is pretty close to a movie seeing at nighttime as well. And you're going to probably get more enjoyment out of that movie than this comic book. Because this comic book, if you take your time reading it, will take you about 20 to 25 minutes to reading it, right? In a movie, you get CGI, you get action, you get a lot of suspense, right? So at the end of the day, this is really going to determine, do you want to spend the $8 for this book? I can honestly tell you, though, this book right now, it's worthy. It's a solid book. Okay, so let's get into it. First things first, the art by Asad Ribic is really, really good. This takes me back to the days when he was doing the Avengers, okay? I thought that was a great run and great art, and this art delivers on every single level. I even like the title page on here. It's really describes to you what the xenomorph is and the process of how they become the aliens, and then it describes the Avengers on Earth's mightiest heroes, okay? And there's one important factor in this comic book. What happens in here is that, hold on. There's one thing in here that Jonathan Hickman does right that he didn't do in Wolverine's Revenge. What I said last week with Wolverine's Revenge is I wanted to see the world become the way that it is. More of a backstory to make me feel vested into the world and how desperate the heroes are to save this world, right? You didn't get that in Wolverine's Revenge. In Aliens, though, in this one, you did. You got the whole first, probably like, you get about 10 pages, maybe a little bit less, on what happened to Earth and how the aliens have spread so quickly to take over the world. And I loved seeing the cities being crumbled apart, and the description on how the aliens are first xenomorphs and they come across a host, and within an hour they pop out of the chest cavity, and then they become a hive, and then the queen is born, and then within a week, and within an hour, and within a year. And I loved learning that story. You feel how bad of shape that the Earth is, okay? And you only have a few selected heroes left trying to save Earth. In fact, there's only one city left, and that's when you get introduced to your cast of characters in this comic book, which is Captain Marvel, which is Hook, Valeria, right? And Charles Xavier's in this book. And so they're figuring out a way, again, how to save Earth before it's too late. And I love the way Valeria is in this comic, and I love how Bruce Banner has taken an oath to protect her so she doesn't die because of her brilliant mind. And she's come up with a way in order to try to save Earth. And unfortunately, it takes a bad turn when we get to the end of the comic book. And you're just like, oh man, that absolutely sucks. And you do get to see this cool battle between the Hulk and the Queen, and it was just a fun book, and I really enjoyed it. And you wind up getting to see Miles Morales in this comic, and things take a little bit of a turn there as well that you didn't expect. So like I said, this book is a worthy comic book. Do I think it's way too much money? Yes. I just think you need to keep comics affordable. Like, it should not cost more than a movie to go see a freaking to go read a comic book, right? I get it, maybe because it's the IP that's raising the cost of this comic, but god damn, it's too much money. But overall, it's a phenomenal read, but I cannot give it the top grade because of the high price. So I am going to give it an A- though. It was a well-told story. I wish Wolverine's Revenge was as good as a story as this Aliens versus the Avengers. So we'll see the direction it goes. And god dang it, it looks like I'm buying a $8 comic. So there you have it, guys. There are my thoughts on all these issue ones this week. There was a ton of them. And I got to get started here because I still got 20 more books to read. What a humongous week. If you guys love the content, remember there's more content right here for you to check out. Remember to vote for me on the CBC Awards. There's a link in the description box below. Support the local comic shops. Keep buying, keep collecting, but always remember, guys, read the comics so we can have great comic conversation just like the one we just had. Guys, thank you so much. I'll see you real soon.